I was surviving partially in positivity and productivity because after school, I would go into her theater classes or when she was directing plays and read lines with actors or lie on the floor and do breath work. It was one of the things that kind of saved me and balanced me from going in the other direction, which I had a good dance with also.
Mm.
But that I came from a theater background. I studied theater in college. I worked in New York at Off Broadway for 10 years after college.
Wow.
We did a show, a Shakespeare show that got into the Edinburgh International Theater Festival. Like I was a working off-Broadway actress. And I thought to myself, I was going to move to California, to Hollywood, and become famous and make $1 million in the movies. And I was 30 years old, coming from a very creative, enriching, culturally diverse background of New York City. And I moved to California by myself. I saved up money waiting tables and I came out here by myself. And it's, of course, there's lots of little tiny stories in here, but I, for 2 years, had, 25 million jobs that had nothing to do with acting or theater or film. And it had to do with hustle and transferable skills in terms of things that I know now about work ethic. But the business in California is a very different value system in entertainment than it is in New York. It doused the fire I had for theater and creativity. And it made me feel awful. I think you said demeaning. I definitely felt small. I definitely saw hundreds of women who looked pretty much like me, with kind of character actress, curly hair, kind of cute. And I thought in New York, I was an individual. I was unique. I was special. And then I came out here and it's a casting call, the herd of people. And casting directors would look at a resume and they would go, oh, you have so much theater, but you don't have any film or like TV. So who are you like?
Oh, man.
The worst question, right? Both of you were like, oh, like the worst question to ask somebody who really is connected to the art of like, I don't want to be like anybody else. And I want to yell and say, who am I like? That's your freaking job to tell me who to be like.
Yeah.
Because my job is to read it and be that person. So just tell me what you want. There are a lot of reasons. There's so many stories, but it wasn't a good fit for me. And the reason I wanted to make millions of dollars in the movies was to go back to New York and start a nonprofit for kids where I was going to be the executive director and host kids in the inner city, like in this neighborhood I grew up with. Now is really a nice neighborhood, but when in the 70s and 80s was not so nice, and start a brick mortar building that had arts and dance and a social worker and saw families and did academic enrichment, like a community center, which is not so unique. I just wanted to do it myself.
Yeah.
And that's not what happened. That's because I didn't make $1 million. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, and isn't it funny? You talked about transferable skills. You just named about 14 of them that probably helped you in every aspect of your career moving forward, including resiliency.